I don't see any reason why we waste resources on severely retarded people. I believe that mentally retarded people should not be kept alive. I'm not talking about the slightly handicapped ones, I'm talking about people who could not possibly contribute to society. I believe these people are a waste of food, time, and space, and sometimes I have trouble sleeping at night thinking that my taxpayer dollars will keep these people alive when they can't contribute back to society themselves. I believe that either these people should be separated from society or euthanized altogether. We don't need these people plaguing our future generations and messing up the gene pool. These people can't even control themselves. I hate how many of them make these movements and drool and noises that make them sound like zombies having intimacy, and doing things that are just plain wrong. I feel like these people would be better off without suffering. Also, when two parents have a baby, do you really think they truly and actually want a retarded baby? No. If that happens, they will have to bust the bank for providing their child with special needs stuff, and I feel like they would be better off if they didn't have to do that. All in all, I feel like these mentally retarded people shouldn't be here since they are a waste of our resources and they are a hindrance to our society. If I were to get into a car accident that renders me mentally handicapped, I would end myself or make someone do it for me, provided that's what I ask before I'm too far gone. When I was in high school, I took a class that had a yearly trip to a nearby school strictly for children and young adults with disabilities. The day was called Buddy Day, and every student was assigned a buddy to spend the day with. Before we went, we were given the opportunity to select preferences of what buddy we would be paired with. Through those preferences, we were assigned a buddy. The preferences we could choose from were gender, mobility, ability to verbalize, and age range. The school offered classes for kids from kindergarten until the age of 25. The students were separated into classes that not only handled their age's range but their functionality as well. I hadn't had many prior interactions with children with special needs before, basically at all. But I consider myself open-minded and choose no preference for all options. My teacher also knew I was a considerate and understanding person, and he recommended I be placed in the room with older students, 16 and above, who were nonverbal and non-modal. I have to admit the whole experience was really extremely rough. I spent the day with my buddy, who had no ability to interact with anyone in any form. She had a lower ability to function than most toddlers, perhaps even at the developmental stage of a 6-month-old. She couldn't hold items in her hand, she couldn't sit upright, and had a wheelchair she strapped into to keep her erect. She couldn't feel herself and, most of the time, had no ability to keep her tongue and drool inside her mouth. She had to have a diaper changed for her on this elaborate swing contraption. My role as a buddy was mostly spent sitting by her. I was given the opportunity to feed her, but it took the effort to get the food into her mouth, have her recognize that there was food in there, and control it enough to swallow and digest. Most of the time, it would fall out. And as much as the experience was supposed to open my eyes and be more understanding to people with special needs, being assigned to her made me extremely sad. This person was a shell of a human. I know many people suggest that someone with such little functioning might still be able to recognize having a companion. Still, I honestly believe she did not comprehend the people around her or life itself. I felt no connection to her. Looking back, I think everyone knew she was the lowest functioning student at the school, and my teacher recommended me to be her buddy because, in high school, putting the wrong person in that role could have been disastrous. At one point, the school held an assembly, and all the students and their buddies gathered in the gymnasium and got to play fun games. I had to stand in the corner and watch. My buddy simply could not be involved in any form. Most of my peers had much higher functioning buddies, people with autism, Down syndrome, or other disabilities. They were having a heartwarmingly great time, and I couldn't help being almost jealous. I sincerely went into this experience hoping to learn something and have a good time, and I just ended up being extremely sad about my buddy's life. I was 18 at the time, and so was my buddy. Another girl in the same low-functioning room I was placed into hadn't been born with the mental disorder. She was a twin. She was my age and would have gone to school with me and graduated from my high school. One winter, she and her brother were playing on a frozen lake, and the ice broke, and she fell in. When her brother got help, and they rescued her, she suffered severe brain damage. She was only marginally higher functioning than my buddy, but not really. It was probably one of my life's most emotionally taxing days, and that was it, just one single day. I can't even imagine the pain the families of those children must go through every single day. And as compassionate as I pride myself on, I couldn't do it. I couldn't reasonably argue to myself that the effort it took simply to keep this husk of a person alive daily would be worth it. I can't suggest the selective euthanasia of people suffering like this. Still, I could absolutely understand the idea of a nursing home for children at this level of disability, caring for their comfort needs but allowing them to pass naturally. If their body simply does not allow them to even function at the level of basic care, to the extent that my buddy had a problem chewing and swallowing food, then I feel that pursuing that level of care is almost torture. And as much as it feels awful to admit this, I spent an entire day with a girl I think would be better off if she wasn't alive.